Nemeth, I'm sorry. And the name of it is The Trial of Marilyn Monroe. Okay. Oh, and we ask for a donation if you haven't done it, for the church. Okay. All right, so Lois, will you come and read Marilyn?
Marilyn?
Right.
Hey, why not, Lois? Why not?
Will you come and
Big
read
breath,
the
big.
doorman? The doorman.
Stand over the grave.
Marilyn's doorman.
Yeah.
And, now, let me see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have more women than I have female parts, I'm sorry to say. So, I would suggest that if you feel like it, read stage directions, okay? So, after saying that, I need somebody to read stage directions. Okay, go.
I turned down the part, so now I'll.
All right, okay. Could come up.
Stay where
Could
you
you
are.
do
No, no, I go. Watch your bag. No, it's the cane. That's right.
You're
I don't
36
need
years
that.
old.
36 years old.
You're 36?
36, well, she didn't get much older.
No.
That was it.
August of '62.
That was it. Oh, God. Okay.
Yes?
All right, this is The Trial of Marilyn Monroe, written by Amie Nemeth, edited by Haley Nemeth, a relation.
My daughter.
Okay. You're a brave woman to let your daughter edit you. Okay. And dedicated with love to my dad, who introduced me to Some Like It Hot, which is how I met Marilyn Monroe. Okay. And the characters are Marilyn Monroe, the doorman to heaven. The year is 1962, and the setting is heaven. The stage is dark, the characters are lit. There is a black man in a white jacket and white pants standing there. He is the doorman to heaven. He is firm but kind. Marilyn Monroe is there too. She is wearing pads and a scarf.
Hello, Miss Monroe. Welcome to the pearly gates.
So this is heaven. I didn't think it looked like this.
Oh, this isn't heaven. It's the antechamber. You still have to get in.
Oh, how do I do that?
I'll ask you questions about your life. You're kind of on trial. If you weren't a good person, you don't get through. If you're a good person, get through.
Oh, God. Wait, can I say that?
It depends on the context. What's up?
What happens if I don't get through?
You'll have to go back to Earth and try again.
Back to Earth to finish that horrible rom-com they have me in, where I am yet again a dumb blonde. No thanks.
Yo, relax. Don't be so nervous.
I'm usually nervous. Sometimes on set I break out in a rash, or I forget my lines.
Check it. I'm here to help you. You need to deserve it, but I'm allowed to assist.
I've just got to get into heaven somehow.
She walks over to the doorman and seductively places her fingers on his chest.
Flirting doesn't work here, baby.
That's funny. It always worked before. Aren't you a man?
Well, not exactly. Here in heaven, seduction don't work no magic.
Well, in that case, I'm not sure I want to come here either. For me, sexual desire is a good and natural feeling.
Trust me, you want to come here. You don't want to go back there. Let's see what you got.
Well, you do know that I was an orphan, don't you? I lived in 11 different foster homes. I never met my father, and my mother had a nervous breakdown and went into an institution.
Hey, I know that. I know everything that happened to you, but trying to get my sympathy won't help open the gates.
I'm not trying to get your sympathy. I don't feel sorry for myself. Listen, right before they took my mother away, she had finally bought us a home. She had bought us a beautiful white piano. And after she was put away, the piano was sold. It took me years to track it down, but I did. I bought it back and I kept it. I'm grateful for that. I kept the best part of her.
Good. So no sympathy needed. You kept the best part of her.
All right, so how do I get in?
You need to have done good deeds to have contributed to humanity. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I can get in from the good deeds I've done. I haven't really done many good deeds.
Just answer the questions and I'll figure out if your deeds get you entry. Why'd you become an actress?
Well, no, that isn't like being a doctor or a physicist like Albert Einstein.
The why is more important than the what. Why did you become an actress?
I liked playing as a child, you know, pretending, which is what acting seemed to be. I would pretend with other children, and I would figure out what each of us should do next to make the story good.
What I'm after is what your motivation was. Why acting?
Well, my mother used to take me to the movies when I was young and leave me there for hours. I used to love it at the movies. I thought actors were handsome, and the actresses were beautiful. You know, like Jean Harlow. I could escape all of my troubles. I felt happy there.
Yo, do you think that if that was an escape for you, that maybe you could provide that same escape for other people?
You know, that was a part of it. People are so nervous these days. They're so worried about the Soviets making us into communists. They're all rushing around everywhere. Entertainment makes them forget their problems.
How did you become a star?
You ever hear of the casting couch? I was on the couch, sure. But my first agent wanted to marry me. I refused because I didn't love him. I was no user. I worked hard to get ahead. I studied acting. I took all kinds of lessons, dance, acting, speech.
Yeah, I know about the casting couch, baby. A big producer you know didn't get through here. He went back as Harvey Weinstein.
I wrote an article about how the producers in Hollywood treat aspiring starlets. Perhaps you read it, called Wolves I Have Known.
Actually, I didn't read it.
No one did. They would rather read about my dates or my difficulties on the set.
So, you tried to expose the sexist Hollywood machinery. And why did you dress so provocatively, talk so breathfully, and walk with major wiggle? Why didn't you rely on your talent? Why weren't you more demure like Grace Kelly? She's graceful as hell.
Oh, please, she was a stuck-up bitch. At home, I wore a scarf, pants, and no makeup. I couldn't go like that to previews. And the way I spoke was to hide a stutter. And the wiggle, oh, that was just for fun.
Are those the only reasons?
My highest grossing movie of all time was Some Like It Hot. Have you seen it? You think they would have hired me if I acted like a smart girl with a small ass?
Yeah, I get it. You know, tits and ass won't get you jobs unless they're yours. I can't say. But honey, biggest grossing films won't get you into heaven.
It wasn't about the money for me. I got only $500 a week for Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and I was the blonde. Hollywood was run by men. I didn't choose these roles.
So, you were a victim?
Are you kidding? I walked out on my studio contract. I left Hollywood instead of playing another bubblehead, and I formed my own production company. I flew back to Los Angeles to take a serious role. I wore a suit to press conference, a jacket and skirt, and what does a reporter ask me? Has my weight changed? Am I the boss lady now? And am I a new girl?
Were you a new girl?
I'll tell you what I told her. I'm the same girl, it's just a different suit.
You go, girl.
Since I came from nothing, I had nothing to lose. I did well for myself. I made some better pictures. I was invited to Hollywood parties. I was interviewed for several magazines. I acted with Olivier. I met Queen Elizabeth.
many girls looked up to you?
I had terrible insomnia, and it got worse as the years went on. I needed my beauty rest for the sake of my career.
You posed nude. You were the first Playboy centerfold. Even gay men were salivating.
Did you ever see a nude painting by Da Vinci, de Goya, or Gauguin? The painting isn't nude, the subject is. That's art.
I dig it. So, you know art?
I know a lot, but men don't usually like that.
And what else do you know?
I read lots of books. I read Carl Sandburg and Dostoevsky. I wanted to play Shakespeare. When I mentioned that to a reporter, he said, just stick to playing poker. That's what happens when you're blonde and shapely.
On Earth, people keep seeing things the way they want to. And they take in information and affirms what they already believe and ignore the rest.
I was called a sex symbol. That was all people saw. They made assumptions about me before I even opened my mouth based on the way I looked. I was not what they thought I was. People were shocked when I married Joe DiMaggio. And again when I married Arthur Miller. They thought these men were not good looking enough for me. And they thought I was not smart enough for either of them.
Speaking of marriage, the gates won't open further until you explain the 3 marriages. Here in heaven, we try to limit the space to people who had family values, and marriage to one person promotes those values. It's better for the kids, you understand.
Then how will Elizabeth Taylor get in?
Touché.
I do like children. I never had my own though.
The marriages.
Oh yes, well, the first one was to keep me out of another orphanage. He was nice, but he didn't want me to work. I really didn't want to give up the modeling I was doing at the time.
You chose your career over your husband?
It was a loveless marriage. We had nothing in common. I was married to him at 16.
Oh, I see.
Well, about Joe DiMaggio, well, I don't like to speak badly about my exes, but he had a bit of a temper. He was kind of old-fashioned. The whole thing with the subway blowing my dress up, that was the end. We did remain friends, though.
That's good. Keep going.
And with Arthur Miller,
Death of a Salesman. Classic.
Mr. Miller was a great playwright. He was called to testify before the House Un-American Committee. I stood by him. The studio didn't want me to, but I did. And he wasn't charged with anything in the end. There, a good deed. Now let me go in.
Not so fast. You're getting closer, but you're not there yet.
I don't know.
That rom-com is waiting.
Let me think.
She walks away and wiggles.
It can't be that hard. No pun intended.
I did entertain the troops in Korea. The GIs went crazy during that show.
She walks towards the back of the antechamber, and the doorman puts his arm up.
Now, hold on, honey. What about all of the lateness? Punctuality is the basis of an orderly society. You kept many people waiting for hours on end.
Hey, everyone has flaws. I didn't mean to hold people up or cause problems.
What caused them?
I wouldn't come out of my trailer until I was sure I could get the scene just right.
Oh, what about singing Happy Birthday to President Kennedy with a skin-tight dress so seductively?
Oh, the execs at the studio were livid. I went anyway. If I had worn an A-line, no one would have listened.
Now, who's making assumptions?
I'm basing that statement on experience.
The last question you must answer is the most important one. Why in the hell did you kill yourself?
My mother had several suicide attempts. My grandfather did too.
Forget it, that ain't a good reason. Suicides usually don't get in. You had beauty, fame, and money. So, why?
Oh, I suppose it seemed like I had it all. I didn't have the one thing I wanted. You think it was love, right? No. It was respect. was insecure. I could attract men, but I couldn't keep them. I read in Mr. Miller's diary that I embarrassed him. That hurt. I thought stardom would cure my insecurities, but it didn't. The studio heads thought I was a joke. The stutter came back during my last shoot. I had nightmares. I had few friends. I thought they would never let me be a serious actress. Even if they had let me, I was afraid that I couldn't do it.
If I had a crystal ball, and I do, I would say that your death will bring you from star to icon. Many women will model themselves after you. Your picture will be a symbol of beauty forever. The fact that you left Hollywood helped bring down the studio system.
So I did have respect?
Yes, ma'am, you did. Who's the person you really need respect from?
What are you talking about? I respected myself. I walked out on the studio. I left a loveless marriage. To be honest, I did feel a lot of pressure. I always felt like an unwanted orphan. I was late because I was afraid I wouldn't be good enough. The acting lessons confused me because I stopped relying on my own instincts. Of course, the pills didn't help.
Take a look, honey. The gates are wide open. Go right in.
You're kidding! What happened? Is this because I'm Jewish?
Born Jewish?
Well, I converted to marry Mr. Miller, but I make a mean matzo ball soup.
Well, Mazel Tov. You just made it into heaven, Shaina Punim. I like matzo ball soup.
Well, in that case, heaven is starting to sound pretty good.
Marilyn, you got in because you admitted your own truth to yourself. That isn't easy to do. Being Jewish doesn't hurt either.
The good deeds?
I just say that's cause that's what everyone thinks. Facing your own truth is harder. Much harder.
At last. Can I play Shakespeare here?
Uh-huh. If you can get to the theater on time.
Marilyn gives a knowing smile, as if to say, I can do that.
Marilyn?
You get to go up and you get to talk to you.
Oh, who's there?
No, we
Now you get up here.
we can go sit down. I was just,
Okay. Who has anything to say?
I thought it was adorable, and I love how you wove in the historical facts, and some of them I didn't know. And I didn't know how it was gonna end, you know, like as you went along, I thought, well, what's gonna get her into heaven, what gets her? I thought it was great.
Thank you, thank you. I did do a lot of research, so the historical aspects are accurate, yeah.
Yes. It was very enjoyable also, although she did do some serious roles.
Oh, she did, yeah.
When I get into discussions about movie or actors, I always mention her as a very underrated actress, because I think she's quite good. And she had series in Niagara, like 53, Bus Stop, and Misfits, so those are the three off the top of my head, where she did a serious turn.
Misfits didn't really do that well, though,
Yeah,
and
but she did a serious
No,
dramatic
she did
role,
do
so
it.
she had opportunities. She
did, but
proved that
it never took, like, it never gained
the
momentum.
public
those
didn't
roles.
embrace it, I realize.
Right.
Wasn't there one where she was a murderer or something?
Niagara.
Niagara.
Yeah, Niagara.
53, she.
Right.
No, not that one, with a babysitter, with a...
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah,
In
that
the
was a
hotel,
very
in the
early
hotel.
one. Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, so she.
People amaze me. I don't remember anything I saw before 3 months ago.
I like the humanistic way, you know, because everybody thinks, you know, things that, not that you were making excuses for her, but it was just more humanistic to understand her
Right.
and from, you know, her vantage point.
From doing the research, she's a very, very complicated person. And, you know, she did have a background, although there's a lot of mental illness in her family. And, you know, she was in 11 foster homes and she was sexually abused. And it made her personality very complicated, you know, understandably. So it was very difficult to get a real handle on her. I tried. I think she didn't even really know herself totally because of her background. She was confused herself. But I tried to like see the real Marilyn when I was writing it.
Right. It was a very cute twist at the end that the good deeds are not the important thing. I
Right.
really like that.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah, that was interesting.
thanks.
Have you written other plays?
I did write one other play after this one that is ready to be edited by my daughter. So as soon as she can do that, I'm gonna send that one out
Well,
too.
we're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna keep
Thank
one
you.
copy and give it to Amy. Okay?
Give it to, oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, she'll enjoy it.
Sure, thank you, that would be great.
When I was younger, I liked to read it.
Thank you for having me.
Do we audition for Marilyn? I have a blonde wig.
Oh.